Talk too long, but Elizabeth will probably have, I mean, she can tell some stories, right? I mean, because we've been through a lot in Florida lately, and so has she and our directors. We've lost homes, we've lost a lot of things in the last year.
Thank you, Bob. I serve on Bob's Climate Adaptation Center and Moat Marines board. And I found over the years that even though I'm not a scientist, I actually majored in French and economics and in international, but there's a room for someone like me in organizations like this. It needs the humanities, the human voice, and to be a part of the leadership of these kinds of organizations. And yes, there are a number of organizations like the Museum of Science at Boston. Why do they want me on their board? Is because I'm a citizen scientist and I get behind them with my philanthropy and with my time. And David asked me to talk a little bit about philanthropy, and it's one thing to write a check, you know, and that's good, and that's what a lot of people do, but I think it's really important to be involved in the initiatives that you really believe in. One of the things that I did lately is to buy a 1,100-acre ranch, which is in a watershed in Florida. And I used that as, it was saved from development because it's so important as a watershed. So it wasn't just the money that I put into it, it's like the fact that I lived there and I bought that, and it's meaningful to me, and that I share it with other people to show them that this is what philanthropy can do. It can save land. And then speaking of land, I don't just look at just water or just land or just air or just trees, because biology is all connected, and that's one of the most important messages that I can convey, and most of you know that. But we can't just look at everything as like a microcosm. It's all connected. We have a saying in Florida, because of the topography of Florida, and ridge to ranch to river to reef, because it's all connected. What happens in the middle of the state of Florida, and all the watershed, it all moves towards the ocean and impacts the coastal ecology. So I try to, through my outreach in different ways, like hosting events at my ranch or workshops. I'm hosting, actually, working on a watershed workshop right now, which will take place in November for our environmental summit in December, to bring leaders together to talk about some success stories about how some of the good things that are going on in our state, environmentally, ecology. And like I said at the beginning, we can't give up hope. Everything sounds so dire and terrible sometimes. I was almost going to cry when I think about Hawaii and the 100-degree water and the manatees starving and the dolphins. But you know what? There are people working tirelessly because they're passionate and they want to keep the dolphins alive, to keep the manatees fed, and we're just working so hard to keep that hope alive. We also look at the next generation. We don't leave it to them to figure it out, but we want to guide them and give them hope to continue with their studies, their passion. And then this next generation, they are hopeful.
And they are, and one of those people is right here. This is Alex Gerhardt. He's our newest board member. And believe it or not, I think we have 6 CAC members in this room tonight who are here, who are part of the CAC. So I think, you know, we are having an impact and we are getting people involved, and we hope that you all will understand that even though only 2 or 3% of philanthropy goes into the environment now, that most Americans and most people in the world now agree that the climate, which is the uniting factor in all of these environmental things, is a big problem, and philanthropy has to start matching the problem, and it's a process that we need to speed up if we're going to have a solution here, rather than just more of the same and worse outcomes.
So one of the things that Bob is doing, and Moat, of course, is educating the public, bringing the science to the public, so that you have an informed, educated public, so you can form groups and then make an impact on policy like the people in government, the decision makers. So an informed public is the strongest thing that we can do for our natural world.
All of you become ambassadors by knowing.
Yes.
And then when you know, you can do something. And that's
where
the
does
theory.
change come? It doesn't come from top down, it comes from the grassroots by civic activism. And Bob often talks about know your elevation.
Right, know your elevation.
And I say, I advise all of you, everyone should know their watershed because you have an impact on it. No matter where you are, you're in a watershed.
So yeah, know your elevation, know your watershed. And the thing is that it's not somebody else's problems to solve. It's ours, one person at a time, one institute at a time, one city at a time, one state at a time, one nation at a time. And if we think about it that way, we'll get there in a good way and lower the risk that we have as a civilization now from this rapidly heating situation that we're in. In Florida, we've had 100-degree temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico this year. And you know, one of the things we care about is the coral, and at 100 degrees, it's very difficult for them to survive. They're an important part of the food chain. The milfoil is here partly because the lakes are warmer. We have sargassum out in the oceans that are being seeded by what we're doing in the Amazon and all the CO2 in the air. And we're seeing this everywhere. Blue-green algae, red tide. It's all related to a changing climate. They're not independent things, they're all part of the same thing.